Welcome to the live stream. For those of you just tuning in, good morning. Thank you for coming on to our live stream here today. Very excited for what I have in store for you today around podcasting and creating audiograms for podcasting. Again, this is a part of a series called the Business Over Breakfast YouTube live show. Very excited to be bringing you this year as I bring you up to speed on how I'm seeking to grow and build my business in 2020. Been quite a year so far. You can go back to my previous episodes and learn a little bit more about the business and what we're focused on this year. So one of the brands within the business, Aura Media, is a podcasting brand at this point, business-to-business clients primarily, focused around providing high-quality podcasts to be used in your marketing as a business-to-business company. So I wanted to bring you through a couple cool things that I've discovered as I've been learning more and more about the podcasting space. One of the cool concepts that's becoming more and more common right now is called audiograms. So basically an audiogram, you'll see an example here in a minute, but it is basically a repurposed podcast episode that you create a video out of, and that video can be used to increase social engagement. You can post it on the social media channels, on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it's a very, very common tool. There's a lot of good examples out there if you search for it, but audiogram. So what I'm going to bring you here through today is kind of the easiest way to create an audiogram for your podcast. If you're interested in utilizing that tool or, that opportunity to grow your podcast. So, there are four main platforms that I'm going to show here today. The first being Canva. So when you're creating an audiogram, basically you're taking the, podcast is obviously just the audio format of an interview, monologue, story, what have you. You're taking that audio and you're creating a dynamic image. It could be derived from a static image with some sort of waveform or some sort of audio wave that gives the viewer something to watch, this audio wave or this static image while listening to the podcast. Obviously, this is very important for a channel such as YouTube that is not a primarily audio-based channel. It is a video-based channel. So putting together a static or a dynamic image to overlay your podcast on top of is important for that sort of channel. Also, on the social media side of things, video performs very, very well organically. And if the whole premise of an audiogram is to grow the reach of your podcast, then you want organic reach, on the social media channels. So you want to use the formats that have been shown to perform well for organic growth. So that's what I'm going to show here today, is how to repurpose your podcast into an audiogram. Now I have a meeting at 9 a.m. Eastern here, so I'm going to do this really fast. So first of all, creating a static image. So I did a webinar with a customer of mine, a customer of PickStockLab, that is a customer of mine. I do the QAD customer podcast for them. And we did a webinar that's a little bit further downstream, further down the funnel, the marketing funnel, if you will, on how my tech achieved some extraordinary results around using the AP automation tool that Pix offers in their DocLab software platform. So this was one of the images or one of the slides that was included. The actual slide itself did not look quite like this. It didn't have Melissa's picture on here, but I went ahead and inserted Melissa's picture through using an element. I created this grid, used this frame, and then I took this image here, and what I did was just overlaid it right in here. You can click into it and kind of make sure that her face is the only thing showing there. And you're able to really, utilize that frame tool. Is pretty cool. The image before just looked like this, didn't have her face on there, but I'm putting her face on there so that it kind of personalizes the static image that somebody's going to watch, So we have the audio of that, that webinar, obviously. It was filmed, but what I want to do is put a audio wave around Melissa's face as she's talking and presenting on what DocLive achieved for her company. So next, I'm exporting this out. It's important to note that a YouTube thumbnail is 1280 by 720. So you export this out as a PNG file, download that, which I already did. Then I use wave.co. Now I pay for the paid versions since I've got a lot of, podcasting customers and a lot of content coming through here. But we're going to start from scratch, click new design, start from scratch. And then we choose horizontal and we have this. I'm going to actually download this here. And what we're going to do next is we're going to insert an image, upload that image. I'm going to go to downloads. There, now we have the image. Then we're going to click on the waveform. These are all the audio waves that I was talking about that you can insert. If I wanted to do one at the bottom, I could do that. What I want to do is have an audio wave around her face. So I'm going to just, put this around and just make sure that that's perfect. You get the point. So that's how I create the template. And then if I come into here, you can see, I select this design, I upload my audio file here, which I've already done for this one, and then it generates a video. So I can see this video. If I play this video, you can see that you can see how it puts the wave form around there.
We began the implementation process with DocLive.
You can hear her voice there, then you download that. So that's how you create an audiogram. Now, the next important part of that is to upload it onto specific channels. So what I do is, well, first of all, I come in and I create a branded thumbnail based off of the playlist that I have. So this is just based off of one of the templates. On the templates, you have a whole slew of options on Canva for templating. I selected one of the templates. Here we can do... You can select one of these templates. Here's the template that I used. And then I created a frame. This is another frame, and you see I've got this picture. So I upload this slide, create a catching title and subtitle, insert the logo, download that. Then I come into here and I just upload the video. When I upload a video, I can select files and do it that way. Now, what I am doing here is, I have a playlist that I put that on as a part of. I upload the thumbnail here. I set this to a premiere because I want it to premiere tomorrow when I release the podcast episode. And then I've got a good, catch here in the comments and a call to action, the doclivewebinar.com. This is a really great landing page that I've created for people to consume our webinars. And this is the call to action that I use for the podcast to get people to actually schedule some time. So that's kind of the funnel there. And this is actually creating revenue for Pix. We just closed a deal Friday off of this funnel. So here we've got kind of our webinar. One Click Agency put this together for me. You can also embed a podcast episode here very easily.
We played to the strengths of all of the team members.
And I, used something that's very applicable for them. So this webinar will then also be posted right here for the full version, which includes a demo of the solution, things like that, and also Melissa's testimonial. So that's my call to action from the YouTube link. It's also going to be a call to action in the podcast episode itself. So I split out the podcast episode, get a little sneak peek in here. This is just keeps building and building now that I put it embedded on that site. Before I embedded it on the site, it had 7 downloads with like 4 or 5 days ago. Now, here, I'm creating a episode specific to this. Still need to write out my description, but I'll use that DocLab webinar URL as well. And I can edit when I want this to be published. I'm going to have this published tomorrow morning along with the YouTube premiere. So you can see the premiere. It's also tomorrow morning. So that's how you repurpose an audiogram into YouTube. And then I can also go about doing that in LinkedIn as well. So if I wanted to, post a video onto LinkedIn, actually, you know what? I want to do a video. I can post that into here. For LinkedIn, I would highly recommend, first of all, I'd highly recommend you follow Miles Veth. Dude is awesome. But I also would recommend that you parse this down a little bit more for LinkedIn, and that you do not embed a link, that you have a very clear set of hashtags, only have a couple sentences per line, a couple important things on LinkedIn there. I also use Hootsuite, which we're not going to get into. I don't have time. You can look at one of my other videos on that. I use Hootsuite to schedule the posts onto the various channels. So that's how I do it. I create a webinar thumbnail in Canva and kind of envision where I want the audio wave to go. Then I create a YouTube thumbnail in Canva, download both of those, wave.co. I go into create, I do a new design, I do it from scratch, upload my thumbnail, upload my audio, create the video, save that, come into YouTube, upload the video, and then I select a specific playlist that I want this to be a part of. I also have an end screen as a call to action to see more if they're not ready to go to the URL here. Then I also have a custom download or a custom thumbnail based off of what I created in Canva. I'm also posting this using Buzzsprout onto the Q80 Customer Podcast and driving all my traffic to the landing page for the webinar recording, which has a number of other recordings, links out to my social pages if they want to learn more about that. And then finally, schedule a meeting. So everybody's moved through this funnel to scheduling a meeting. That's how it's done, people. If you want to have this done for you, Aura Media, that's what we do. We are doing this for Pix and the Q80 Customer Podcast. Highly recommend you check out the podcast. Use this as a case study, and very, very exciting results, tangible, actual revenue closed from the podcast marketing for Pix. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.